Hey guys, here we are. We're going to start playing with the water methanol injection kit. Mick really wants to start putting in the timing back in. Pulling it out really obviously had those detrimental effects with miling out the top end of the track. We've got Orlando here from Cool Runnings Engineering, and he specialises in water methanol injection for cars within Australia. Orlando, could you tell me a little bit about some of your past experiences with Evolutions, and also what are the specifications that you've decided upon for our build?
With the Evo platform, I've had some experience with the Evo 10s, not too much with the Evo 9s, but I do have overseas customers that I sell to with the Evo 9 and the Evo 8 platform. But we get great results on the Evo 10s. I've been working with a guy named Peter for a few years on the Evo platform, and we're seeing upwards of 700 horsepower. That's on pump fuel and using water injection, so works extremely well in that application.
With timing, again, I'm not a tuner, and Mick is. So what effects? So say you've maxed out the timing on pump fuel. How many more degrees of ignition timing can you normally add once you add water methanol?
So each engine's quite different, and it will. There's a whole lot of factors that come into that when deciding how much timing you can put back in once you switch to water injection. So with your car, for instance, I'd be thinking starting with about 2 or 3 degrees timing and seeing how it responds with water injection, and then we can increase from there depending on what we're seeing on the dyno with regards to the results from the water injection tune. With the older engines, they're more favourable to timing because they're quite knock limited. Obviously more ancient cylinder head design, which is not so favourable to combustion pressures and stuff like that. So usually we can run a lot more timing with those engines when we're using water injection. So, yeah.
All right, for boost at the moment we're sort of struggling at around the 23 pounds mark with pump fuel. What would you say our new limit will be with this specification kit that you've supplied?
So I've supplied a kit that should see you increase the horsepower to around 250 kilowatts. So currently I think you're at about 210.
Yep.
And so I've spec'd the kit so you can increase the boost by about 5 psi, and also add up to about 5 degrees of timing to achieve that power. Obviously that you should be able to get more power out of the kit that I've spec'd, but that's...
We'll have to change the jets or something, is that right?
So yeah, this kit can... we can increase jet sizes, or we can go more jet. So we can add a direct port injection kit onto this base kit once you are at that power level. So say you decide, all right, I'm going to scrap the whole stock turbo idea.
Yep.
I'm going to go big turbo,
Yep.
a bigger exhaust system, more boost. With this kit that we've got here, we can just add on to that to achieve those new power levels.
All right, so why don't we step through some of the components of the kit. I was planning on opening this box before Orlando got here, but of course we always run out of time. Orlando, could you pick up each piece and explain its role?
Okay, so I guess we'll start with the tank first. It's the biggest thing in the kit. So this is a 10 litre tank, mounts in the boot, and obviously stores the Water-Meth mixture. This is actually, we're experimenting here with a new pickup design. So this is a new tank pickup from Water-Meth. Before we used to have to drill 2 holes in the tank here for the pickup and for the level sensor. Now it's incorporated into one unit, which just drops into the...
Do you want to cut that open?
Yep.
I love opening new products and new toys for the car.
So this is a new design tank pickup. As you can see, it's got the float here. What Water-Meth have done now is they've incorporated a proper level sensor into the gauge. So if you hold the button on the gauge, it will give you the level reading instead of just having just a low level.
Yeah,
sensor,
I know that. Like, yeah, you think you've got fluid in your tank, and then you're like empty.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's a handy feature.
Away from that. Also incorporated is the pickup. So now the pickup's in that stem. It's got a filter on the bottom as well, which is nice and neat. And also it's got a breather system. So you've got the extra bit of hose here. You plug in, and that's remote venting. So say you're running 100% meth in this system, you don't want it venting in the car, so you can have that venting outside the car via this.
That's a neat feature.
Yeah, so that just drops in there like so. That's it, top swivels around so you can have it pointing wherever you want. And then this wire will go back to the control unit, and that will give your level sensor indication to the controller.
Sweet. All right, what else we got in there?
Alright, so let's put this over this side. So here we've got the pump. Now this is the larger of the two options that you have in the pump sizes. This one we use for anything that's going above a 6-cylinder direct port system. So the reason we're using it in this application is because I'm not sure how far Ben's going to go with the modifications on his car, and I basically want to future-proof the system. So I thought, hey, if we supply the biggest pump that we have straight off the bat, it will save him from having to change the pump out in the future. So.
I have had Water-Meth previously on our Supra back in the day, and yeah, that was one of the limitations. Whereas most Water-Meth kits that I see, the ones that are available, they max out at a 4-cylinder direct port system. So how many jets would our maximum be on a pump like this?
So this one we've had up to over 10 jets. So we've used this on direct port system on the V8 Mercedes or any kind of V8, well over 600 kilowatts.
Yeah, well, I think that's going to be enough for the Wagon.
Yeah. And then we have the kit. So this is a HFS 3 kit. There's also a HFS 4 kit. The difference between the two is simply the controller. The HFS 3 controller is designed for engines running port injection, just like what we've got in the Evo behind us. Yeah. And the HFS 4 kit is designed for vehicles running direct port injection. So think of your Euros, your Audis, Volkswagens, Mercedes, anything that uses direct port injection. Direct injection fuel systems. That's what the HFS 4 is designed for. So it can read the direct injection signal where the HFS 3 can't. It's designed to read port injection signal. So yeah.
All right, let's open that box up because it looks like there's a fair bit in it.
Yeah. All right. So first up, we've got the manual. We'll just set that out over there.
With your experience, I'm guessing we don't have to read the manual.
No, we'll be right today. So I'll just lay all out. So this is all the wiring components, and we'll go through what each of these are.
HS or HF3 kits. So it was a very similar kit to this.
Okay.
But it had the smaller water pump. All right, Orlando, if you could run through each component, that'd be good.
All right. So here we've got the heart of the system. Basically, this is the brains that control everything. It's the HFS 3 controller. We just pop the lid off so you can have a look on the inside. And these are just some of the controls that we use to set up the unit specifically for the application that you're using. So we've got 4 potentiometers and then a series of jumper links that you can use. And these can set the system up to either run off boost, so you can use it to read map sensor signal, or you can have it running off injector duty cycle.
Can you do a combination of the two?
Not on this unit. On the HFS 4 you can do a combination of of the two. What you've also got with this unit is, say you've got an aftermarket ECU, you're running Motec, Haltech, Cyvex, something like that. You can input the signal or a control signal from the ECU.
From CAN or just like a 0 to 5 volt or?
So from a PWM output in the ECU,
Yep.
and you can control this unit directly. And then this will still do all your fail-safe features.
Yep.
You'll still have the gauge operational, so that you'll be able to have your tank level indication and things like that. But the ECU would actually be controlling the rate of water injection. So it does have that option.
Yep.
Or if you for cars, so say you've got a Carby V8, for instance, whether NA or boosted. That's obviously it doesn't run an ECU. You need something like this that's got its own brain that can control the water injection system independently, and doesn't require input from an ECU. So it's very, very versatile and can be used for a wide range of applications and different type of vehicles. So
great. Okay.
All right, so there's our gauge. The setup instructions for this are in the manual. It's quite easy. Aquamist have gone from just an on and off button to a multi-function button now. So that way you'll be able to get obviously your tank level indication, and there'll be it's basically laid the groundwork for a whole host of other applications with regards to just using that single button to do other things. So stand by for future upgrades. This is our trunk harness. So this has got our relay in it, and this is what this controls your pump. So your pump will plug into this harness, and as you can see, there's a long lead. So if your battery's still in the boot, you can just wire it straight to your battery.
So is this the main wiring harness for the pump, or is that for everything?
This is the main wiring harness for the pump, and also for the tank level sensor, because it lives in the back, and that's why it's so bulky. Obviously there's enough there to run from the boot of your car into the cabin, and also down to the front of your car if that's where the battery is located.
I'm going to jump ahead because we were thinking about mounting the pump. Can the pump be mounted in the boot, or is that always an engine bay type of?
No, the pump mounts in the boot, as close as possible to the tank.
Oh, okay, great. That makes it easier.
Yep, that's right. So that's why we've got this big bulky harness. This is the older type tank level sensor. So if you didn't have the new system, then you could just drill.
Oh, if you like fabricated a tank or something like that.
Or if you fabricated your own tank.
Okay,
you've got
that makes it easy.
there. And then this is your pickup. So the pickup's got its filter there.
So that's obsolete for our new system.
For our application, we won't be using any of this because obviously
that makes sense.
It's all built in. So this is the fast acting valve. These come in two sizes, so you can have a 1300cc or you can have the larger 1600cc version, and you can also double these up to have twin versions. So if you're using the big pump in and you want, say, 3000 cc's of flow because you want to make 1,000, 1,500 horsepower, that's a lot. You can use two of these, and
Can you run staged Water-Meth with this kit?
No, it doesn't run staged because it uses PWM control, and it's only controlling usually just one solenoid. So everything comes after that. So
no worries.
This is our power harness for the controller.
So that goes inside your dash somewhere.
So we hook up. We get 12 volts ignition switch going to this, and also earth. And this can also go to your dimmer switch. So if you connect it to your dimmer switch,
that makes sense.
The gauge.
We'll definitely get some sort of need some sort of gauge holder for that one.
Yeah. All right, so this one, it's color coded, it's gray. This is your ECU harness. This is the one that we use to either connect to your injector duty cycle or your map sensor signal, and this one, those inputs will control the flow of the system. In this is also an orange wire, so if you've got an aftermarket ECU, you can connect this output to an input on your ECU, and that will actually be a fail-safe. So in the unlikely event of anything happening with the water injection, that will send a signal to your ECU, and that can either do an ignition cut, boost cut, whatever you want to set up in the ECU as a fail-safe. So yeah, and if you don't have an aftermarket ECU, it will control a MAC valve that you can use to do some kind of fail-safe.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so we could possibly tie that in with our Turbo Smart boost.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
So you can feed that that output that I just mentioned to the Turbo Smart boost controller, and it will lower the boost.
Oh, that's good. I was wondering about how, with the stock ECU, how you would cut the boost. So that makes sense. Yep, great.
That's
very good.
Yeah, so it's great. So this is just your gauge cable. If you're using this unit, please always use OE equipment. They're not just like a Cat 5 cable that you can buy. They're wired specifically for this unit. So please be aware of that, guys. This is your flow sensor cable. So on the back of the fast acting valve is actually a flow sensor. And we use that for indication to the gauge, and also to set up our fail safes.
Like a clogged filter?
So if there's a block filter before it, it will let you know, and if there's a leak afterwards, so a high pressure leak, it will also let you know. So
that's very tricky
for controlling the fail safes. This is a user harness. There's some auxiliary input on that. It's all in the manual for that one. And then this is just the wire that connects to the fast acting valve, so that's a plug for it. And again, everything's color coded and terminated, nice and easy to set up and install. There's only really 5 or 6 wires that you have to connect, other than plugging everything in to get the system up and running. All right, so we've got the tank fittings. So these will, sorry, not the tank fittings, the pump fittings. These will just screw into each side of the pump. They're compression fittings, so really good. Locks up nice and tight, prevents any leaks. You've got 3 jets, also a T-piece, and you've got your jet adapters here. And so when you're ordering the kit, you can always contact myself or contact Aquamist for advice on how to select your jets. If you jump on the website, there's also advice on there as well. So yeah, you've got your 4mm hose, and this will connect from your fast acting
high pressure?
valve. Yeah, high pressure. Yeah. So this will connect from your fast acting valve to the jets, and then you've got the 6mm hose, which goes from the tank to the pump, and also from the pump to the fast acting valve.
Yep.
There's some additional nuts and bolts for the pump mounting, and also for the tank mounting.
And that's your breather.
And then that's your breather. So
all right,
that pretty much covers off everything that's involved in the kit. So
let's get stuck into the install.
All right.
All right, so as you can see, we've finished up the installation for now. We will end up making an aluminium bracket and installing the pump behind the tank. But for now, to get on the dyno and get some results, we've mocked it up out of wood, and it is bolted with some nutserts or riv nuts into the factory plate there, which is holds some of the foam, so that's nice and easy. All right, so we've reached out to the guys at VP Racing Fuels Australia. They're in Chipping Norton, New South Wales, and they actually sell a pre-mixed Water-Meth fluid, which is specifically designed for Water-Meth injection. So they reckon this one actually will make a bit more power than your own 50-50 mix. They said that does have some other additives to make a bit more power, so that'll be great. So yeah, thanks to VP Racing, that was good. So what we're going to do now is we're going to switch over the demineralized water, which is what Orlando sets the car up with and does the pump tests and flow tests. And then we'll get this car warmed up on the dyno and see what sort of power we can make. All right, so the car is fitted with its, we've got a jet in the upper intercooler pipe, as well as one directly on the outlet of the Plasma Man cooler. So by going to a 2-jet system, the car is currently configured with jet size to handle up to 250 kilowatts at the wheels. As you've seen before, we're hitting a wall around that 210, 215 kilowatt mark with timing issues. So with this system, we will be able to increase the timing and try and get the boost a bit higher safely on 98 octane fuel. Alright guys, so as you've seen from the dynographs, we've wrapped up tuning for today. Mick's done a great job. I've done a great job watching him tune. Mick, this is the first time I've really been involved with Water-Meth to this sort of level of tuning. Can you give us some feedback of what you found with before and after the Water-Meth?
Pretty much, last time we tuned this car on 98 with no Water-Meth, the maximum time we could run is around, like, in the mid-range between 6 to 8 degrees and maximum of 11 to 12, and then we're starting to get knock in the engine. So it wanted to make a bit more power, but it just knocks all the time. Now with the Water-Meth, we're up to E85 for timing, 16 to 17 degrees in the top end, which has made a big difference, and taking some injector fuel out, like injector duty out of the injectors, and getting the Water-Meth to do most of the work, and it's made a massive difference.
I did notice the car's running a bit leaner than it was before. Can you explain why you're able to run a leaner mixture?
Normally when you run them a little bit leaner, you always make more power as long as you don't go into knock. Obviously with the Water-Meth, it's made a big difference. So we're able to run it that little bit leaner to make the power.
All right, Orlando, I noticed you were trying to put more meth down low to allow Mick to add that timing. Can you explain what sort of increase in meth injection were you from your original 600 cc's?
I was about 200 cc's off. It's running the stock turbo, obviously, generating a lot of heat, and it also makes a lot of boost really quickly. So I didn't really account for that when I initially sized the injectors, so I just did a small adjustment to take account for that.
All right, I'm dying to get this thing back out on the track. I'm going to ask you some predictions. The best we've done so far is 105, 106 mile an hour. What are you hoping to see out of that, Mick?
Mile an hour wise, I reckon it'll probably pick up maybe 2 to 3 mile an hour, but definitely down low should make a big improvement. Like the mid-range and that, acceleration.
Yeah.
Should see a big difference.
I had those issues last time where we had heaps of traction, but we didn't quite have that power down low. So I'm hoping with this new gain down low, we can hopefully dip into the 1.6s.
It should, maybe even a high 1.5,
Yeah. All right, guys, I want to thank you both very much for your involvement. The car's coming along great, and I think this is really a kind of special project that we're all doing. So thanks very much, guys.
No problem.
No worries, Ben. Cheers.